In the modern age, there is no excuse to not learn how to code. Anybody who says that they aren't smart enough to do it are either plain lazy or they're just kidding themselves. Obviously, if you're going to go into something like medicine or law or the trades, then coding likely won't apply very well. But beyond that, just for the regular person in other fields, especially in white-collar work, you should learn how to code. It should be as common as knowing how to do basic arithmetic. I mean, it's honestly a travesty that most school systems don't incorporate computer science on a deep level. They have math, English, history, shop class, all of which are good. And of course they're good, they're practical on some level. They teach you good skills. But you know what's also a good skill? Knowing how to write computer programming. And in the 21st century, knowing how computers work should be a bare minimum area of knowledge. I mean, it's just how the world functions. Think about all the things that use computers. The banks, the stock markets, storefronts. I mean, you're even watching this video on a computer. Yet, it is the case that most people don't know how a computer works. And it's not just about the architecture of the hardware. It's also about knowing the software and how the software and how the code actually can deliver some sort of use case. And so I definitely believe that the school system has failed. Knowing how computers work should be on the same level as knowing how to write an essay, but that's just not the case. And so today I want to talk about coding and tech in general. This is for the people who aren't in tech and are maybe looking at this from the outside, and this is even for people who are in tech or learning tech, like my fellow university students who might be in computer science. So I want to tell you my journey and convince you that you either need to learn to code or just reassure you that you are enough and you do have what it takes. So I didn't start coding until I was 18 in my first year of university. I mean, prior to this, I didn't even know how to use Excel. I could barely navigate the Windows folder system. Like, I was actually technology illiterate, which is unacceptable in this day and age. I didn't do coding when I was young. Of course, I interacted with software when I was young, just like everybody else. Social media, video games, and web browsing. You know, just the common stuff. But I had no idea how any of it worked, and anything deeper than the most dumbed down consumer level applications I could not deal with. But now, I'm about to go into my third technology internship at one of the largest companies in Canada. And I also have 3 research assistant jobs lined up with various professors at my university. And the craziest thing about those RA roles is that the professors came to me. I didn't even look for those opportunities. They just fell into my lap thanks to, honestly, just the leverage I have in terms of my technical knowledge and ability. And these jobs are incredible. I mean, the opportunity presented in front of me is going to be game-changing. I mean, one of them is developing a cutting-edge deep neural network that can predict the spread of diseases through a network. I mean, this is cutting-edge stuff that's going to transform fields of research. There's also some other large language model software development use cases that I'm also working on with the other research assistant jobs, and I could potentially touch on those jobs more if you guys are interested in an upcoming video. And I'm only 20 years old, and that's just the most incredible thing. And it goes to show the kind of crazy turnaround and the evolution that I've had over the past few years. It's probably an understatement to say I've leveled up, and I've become a different person. And none of this was because I'm special, or because I'm a genius, or because I'm particularly smart. It's just because I grinded harder and longer than anyone else, especially my peers. It's just about showing up consistently, putting aside my ego, being willing to learn, and being able to put in the time consistently. When my classmates at university are gaming, I'm coding. When they're sleeping, I'm learning. And etc, etc. Anyway, I think to describe my evolution a bit more, let me tell you a story. So, my very first programming class in university was an introduction to the basics of Python, and it was hard. I struggled so bad those first few weeks, even understanding how a basic for loop works, or comprehend what a function does. I was such a noob, it's actually crazy. And I even have an embarrassing memory in that class where I was called to go up in front of the class and write my answer to a problem. And I fucked it up so bad. And the solution in question was just using a basic conditional statement. Basically just writing a if, elif, else clause in Python. I mean, it's the basics. It was so embarrassing. And my first midterm in that class? Well, suffice to say, I completely bombed it. I mean, for most people, they'd think that they're definitely not cut out for this. It's just beyond them. That's where most people give up. But for me, something changed. It began to click. How? Well, I started using the tools at my disposal for good. The internet. ChatGPT just came out at that point. So I jumped right onto it and I sat on it for hours and hours with my weekends flying by and me asking question after question to it. I had it give me practice coding problems for me to solve. I asked it to break down how coding solutions worked. And then, little by little, I began to notice patterns, memorize syntax, and strengthen that problem-solving muscle that is essential for software engineering. I mean, little old me, who was such a mediocre student in high school, who got dog shit grades, who didn't even care about school, the guy with no talent to speak of, no skill set, I was beginning to figure it out. And so, despite the hard start, I finished that class with an A. And the next class, which was object-oriented design, I got an A. And I got an A in data structures and algorithms, web development, computer architecture, databases, and whatnot. It has completely transformed my academic performance, but I don't really care too much about that because I see that it's completely transformed my skill set. People go to me now because they understand I have the technical ability. People ask me to join their hackathon teams because they know I'm a strong asset. And the secret? Coding isn't hard, but problem solving and being able to put yourself in the situation where you need to sit down and think through a problem, that is hard. But I promise you, anybody can do it. You just need to have some discipline. So it kills me when people, especially students who are in things like business or arts, act shocked when I tell them that I'm in tech. They say, "Oh, I could never." Yes, you could. You're just scared, or you're lazy, or you're both. And I have no respect for that. You are setting your own self up for failure. How can you live in the year 2025 and not even know how to write a hello world statement in Python? Coding isn't some mystical language of dots and dashes, as some idiot business kid told me. It's just keywords, variables, and logic. It's a puzzle. And like any puzzle, you solve it by thinking, experimenting, and trying again. And even once you learn to code, you start to develop some imposter syndrome just because the programming domain is as wide as an ocean and as deep as an ocean. But here's a quote I love, and this one comes from Alex Hormozi. Imposter syndrome is just inexperience in disguise. Let that sink in. It's just inexperience. If you practice relentlessly, if you build projects consistently outside of your coursework, that means taking the initiative. If you actually care about the craft, you will grow. Your skills will sharpen and your confidence will follow. But you need to commit wholeheartedly. You need to love the process, or at least learn to appreciate it. Because if you're just chasing it for the money, it's not going to last. It's not going to work out. You will fail. I mean, don't get me wrong. I am in it for the money, but I'm also in it because I love it. And I have to say, the craziest part about all of this is just figuring out how powerful momentum can be. Once you start building and focusing on something, and when you tune out the noise and start to actually apply yourself, it is shocking how much you can achieve. I'm still very early on in my career, but I can already start to see the momentum building. I am starting to build real-world applications that leverage AI use cases. I am starting to build software that people can actually use in their day-to-day life. And I'm working at huge companies that deliver billions of dollars in value. And the more experience that I get, the more this momentum will pick up. I mean, so far, I've got 4 jobs lined up, 4 requests for me to build other people's websites who are actually going to pay me. And I've got ambitions to start building a software as a service product, which maybe I'll talk about a little bit more in the future. But all of this came from one simple thing. Just being consistent. Seriously, one of the biggest problems I have with Gen Z is their inability to be consistent. If you start a YouTube channel and only upload 2 videos before giving up because you haven't hit 1,000 subscribers, then you're an idiot. It's about being disciplined and consistent. It's not about instant gratification. It's about momentum building. And just like in the stock market, it takes decades and decades to see compound interest pay off. It's the same thing for anything else that matters in life. You're not going to see it pay off right away. And that's where most people give up. But if you're able to push through, then you are going to get ahead in life. And you will be ahead of the crowd, and that's where the real success is. But anyway, that's it for now. I'll probably do a follow-up on this once I've racked up more experience or, experienced a few existential crises. But until then, I want you to keep building and keep grinding. You're doing the right thing, and it will pay off. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.